most unforgiving force in the WWE. The final sound you will hear is the hounds of hell baying for your soul. And you will rest in peace.
Hey guys, this is Chase. I'm that guy with the gloves. Survivor Series 2020 marked the end of an era. 30 years ago, The Undertaker debuted at the 1990 Survivor Series, and since then, we've seen this undead zombie become a phenom to an American badass, back to being the dead man. It's no secret that The Undertaker is my favorite professional wrestler of all time. A character that has survived every single era of modern professional wrestling. The cartoonish Hulkamania era, the tough and gritty attitude era, the ruthless aggression era, and the now modern era. I've made a lot of videos with a lot of Undertaker action figures throughout the years. They always just seem to get better and better. And right now, I can't think of a better way to say goodbye to my favorite professional wrestler of all time, as of his retirement this past Survivor Series, than by taking a look at the decade of domination, Undertaker. This perfectly encapsulates his 1990 Survivor Series debut, but that's not all. We're also going to take a look at the Elite 79 Collector's Edition Undertaker. We've seen this version of The Undertaker for the past couple of years, and it was a perfect way to send him off at the 2020 Survivor Series. So, as I bravely open up the casket to reveal the decade of domination Undertaker, I absolutely love this thing. Think of this as like an upgraded version of his entrance grades, whereas that one had the cloth coat, the black gloves, the amazing head scan / head sculpt that they did, and I love the green zombie eyes that they gave him. This one, I think, outdoes that in several key areas. I'm a little disappointed with the hat, though. I think it just, for some reason, sits awkwardly on his head, and at that Survivor Series, he had a plain black hat. I'm sure sometime during this period, The Undertaker has worn a hat with a gray-colored band around it, but for the most part, he wore a plain black one. So, thankfully, I have several different fodder pieces that I can include with this. I just gotta fix the brim of it. It's a little warped. The face on here, I just think looks amazing. I know that they've used this one before, but the True Effects really brings out a lot of detail, perfectly captures how The Undertaker looked at the 1990 Survivor Series. Love the shading in the beard and goatee. I love the purple bags around the eyes, and the eyes just look so creepy. Undertaker includes a fabric trench coat. It's not like a cloth material, it's more of like, that shiny, almost what they use to make like his leather coats, but I do like this one a lot. It would have been kind of cool to see them try the cloth pattern. I believe they're doing that for his upcoming Legend series. The hair, like I said, the mullet looks pretty good. I like that they went with a darker shade of red, almost a brown. The tie looks pretty good, just a simple striped gray and light gray tie. It's got that stretchy cord material there. Comes off of his head easy enough. It will kind of get snagged on the mullet, so just don't rip at it. Be patient, go slow, and be gentle with your Undertaker, because, you don't want to strangle him with the tie. He's going to probably wake you up in the middle of the night, give you a choke slam or something. The shirt, I think, looks really awesome. I do have a problem with that cut going across the top of it, but, the collar and the buttons look great, and thankfully, the shirt does not hinder articulation too bad. I've posed around with it a lot more since the video, and his shoulders, they tend to hold a better pose now. So, as you could see before, the left shoulder was kind of getting pushed back down, but not so much anymore. This Undertaker features no tattoos, because this was before he started to get all inked up. He's got plain black tights, he's got his gray boot covers. I love these things. I wish they were made of a softer material though, because they do tend to hinder articulation on the boots. The Decade of Domination Undertaker has the elite style articulation, so it could look left and right, it can look up and down, does the Michael Myers head tilt or more the Jason Voorhees head tilt to the side. He does have an ab crunch. It's not the most impressive ab crunch I've ever seen, but he does get a decent range of motion back and forward. He does have waist articulation. Shoulder rotates 360 if you want it to. He does have the upper bicep swivel. The shoulders can move in and out. He's got a single bend in the elbow. Cannot wait for an Ultimate Edition Undertaker so we can get some double articulation in that elbow joint. The hand rotates 360 degrees and can pivot in and out. The legs go forward 90 degrees, almost a full 90 degrees actually, and to the side almost 90 degrees. He does have the upper thigh swivel, the double bend in the knee. Got some sweet moves there, Taker. He does rotate at the boot. Like I said before, the boot covers do block articulation if you're trying to go backwards, but it does move forward with relative ease, and he has a slight ankle rock. I've taken several years off from reviewing figures, and this is actually the first time I've got to mess around with a figure on video and play around with the alternate hands. So this Undertaker's first set of hands, it's more of his, paying tribute to the urn and Paul Bearer and when he raises up the lights. This set of hands are a set of open hands to where he could clasp a steel chair, wrap it around Hulk Hogan's head, pay him back for the 91 Survivor Series finish where Hogan tried to say Taker hurt him on the tombstone. Yeah, right, Hulk. So these pop out pretty easily. You do have to use a little bit of force, but they come out and they just slide right in there with a little bit of force. Always thought Mattel should have done this from the very get-go, because you had like NECA figures and Marvel Legends figures that were getting really, really big into alternate hands and stuff like that at the time. So maybe not from the beginning, but at least a couple years in. It took them a lot longer to get those pieces, the interchangeable parts, than it should have, but I'm thankful we do have them now. We now move on to the Elite 79 Collector's Edition Modern Day Undertaker. My goodness, this is a beautiful figure. It's a Walmart exclusive, as is the Decade of Domination, so you will have to be on the hunt for this one. It's probably going to be expensive to find. He has the basic black hat, looks pretty good on him. Taking it off though, he's got the hair with the receding hairline and the shaved sides of his head. I love the goatee. I love the fading that they did just to kind of show you that, this Taker has aged. The wrinkles and everything in his face. Love the eyes. They didn't go too heavy on the eyeliner and the eyebrows. I think this is probably one of the best, if not the best, Undertaker head scans they've ever done. The jacket, I'm not the biggest fan of the molded material, but I kind of think you have to do that for this. I don't know how you would get this to look this way on a small scale for fabric. I mean, maybe, I know one person who could probably do it, but for what we got here, it's pretty good. You got all those little details, the buckles and the rings and stuff like that. I get very creepy Alien/Prometheus vibes with a little bit of Hellraiser thrown in there. Taking the jacket off is always a pain in the butt. I'm always worried about breaking my figures. But once you get the jacket off, Taker's got a single left elbow pad. This is a new torso piece for The Undertaker. I'm not certain if it's a brand new I don't know if it's been on other figures, but it looks great for him. He's got his tattoos underneath the neck, so nice attention to detail. He's got his full tattoo sleeves. They look pretty great. Some of them have some color on them. I do really love this new chest piece. It works so well for The Undertaker. His gloves, the bands, now have that MMA strap on there. That looks really nice. Same, MMA gloves he's always had but now he's got interchangeable MMA gloves. The leather pants look good. I mean, you've seen this on a million other figures, so nothing really to write home about. His interchangeable hands, you get a set of like chokeslam hands, so they're open to where they could, goozle somebody around the neck. And then you pop these bad boys in, and he is ready to throw the soup bones. These are slightly open, but also slightly closed hands, so you can put a steel chair in them. These took a little bit more work versus the Decade of Domination figure Undertaker, but I'm happy because I don't want these joints to get loosened. And see, Taker's now ready to throw hands with, I don't know, maybe Ronda Rousey. That would be interesting. Watch the two best pure strikers in WWE, eh, Michael Cole? Just go at it. Seriously, I love this Undertaker figure. I cannot say enough good things about it. Getting into the articulation, he does have elite style articulation. The head could look left and right, up and down. He's got the head tilt. You could make him do a full exorcism 360 if you wanted. The ab crunch, slightly disappointing on it, but you know, when you get up there in age, you can't really bend forward as much as you used to. He does have the waist articulation. The shoulder rotates 360. You got the upper bicep swivel. You got the single bend in the elbow. Still praying for that Ultimate Edition Undertaker, because I'm going to do a lot of modifications. I'm going to buy a shit ton of Ultimate Edition Takers and upgrade all of my elites. He does have the rotation in the wrist, pivots in and out. He's got full splits going on here. Super impressive. Almost like, you know, JC Undertaker. I was going to say, you know, Jean-Claude Van Damme or something, but impressive articulation in the legs. He's got the upper thigh swivel. He's got the double bend in the knee. And he does have some foot articulation. Can pivot in and out. Can kind of rotate. And it does have a slight ankle rock in it as well. It's kind of fitting to review these two figures with how it started and how it ended. The Decade of Domination Undertaker, I think, is a solid figure. It is an amazing upgrade from the old Entrance Greats figure. The shirt, while I don't like the cut on there, it's a bit ugly, and it does somewhat hinder articulation at the beginning. It's still pretty awesome, and I like that Mattel went that way with it. It gives us the torn sleeves. I'm going to give the Decade of Domination Undertaker a solid 8 out of 10, minus those few complaints and the gray band on the hat and the warping on the hat. I do like the way that hat looks. The fabric coat is awesome. The True Effects look so great on this face scan of the Undertaker, and I love the black gloves and the extra hands. The Elite 79 Collector's Edition Undertaker is going to get a solid 9 out of 10 for me. One of the most impressive face scans I've ever seen from Mattel. I love the updated look to the Undertaker. The plain black hat looks great. The new torso for him looks awesome. You know, the rest of the design's a little boring, but that's not their fault. It's just what he had. And even though I'm not a fan of the molded coat, it does look pretty awesome. These last 30 years, The Undertaker has given his life, his body, his time to professional wrestling, to the fans of professional wrestling. He has evolved this character so much, and I just feel like he is one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time. But, you know, who else could have a career like The Undertaker? I don't know. I don't think many people could do what he did. So, as we eagerly await to see what is next for Mark Calaway, the man behind The Undertaker, I really think there is only one thing left to do. Or maybe two things. Realistically, that last part's probably not going to happen despite my best efforts. I mean, I have prayed to every dark god known to the universe. Anybody who has, like, worshipped the dark side knows what type of sacrifices we have to make in order to make things happen. So trust me when I say I've made some sacrifices. I'm just kidding. It's somewhat of a rant I'm going to go on here. You had The Undertaker and Sting in your company in 2015. You had a relatively healthy Sting and a returning Undertaker. How could you not have booked that match? Even if you were like hoping to do it at next year's WrestleMania, you really should have pulled the trigger on that when you had the chance. I know hindsight is always 2020, but damn it, I cannot believe we were robbed of that match. Well, at least we have amazing action figures of both Sting and The Undertaker to recreate, or not recreate, but create our own dream matches. And hey, they're in the video games as well, so I guess it ain't all bad. with the action figures and with the video games, we'll have these characters with us for the rest of our lives. But as of this last Sunday, the dead man has officially been laid to rest. And I'm so happy for Mark. I mean, the man had such a legendary career, and he went out on such a high note with the Boneyard match. Cannot wait for that Elite to drop. I can't think of anything else I would have wanted from him other than that Sting and Taker match. I mean, what a career. I would not be as big a fan of professional wrestling as I am, and I don't think a lot of people would be without The Undertaker. He inspired so many of us. To see somebody during that bright and colorful Hulkamania, screamy, shouty promo time, someone comes in, barely says a word, and just destroys everybody, to him evolving into this dark, almost Batman-like character who rights the wrongs and challenges the monsters of WWF/E to becoming a full-on evil leader of a cult, to then being a biker, an underrated gimmick in my opinion, to then morphing back into a hybrid version of the dead man and the biker, to then just fully becoming the dead man. And the amount of amazing matches he was able to put on at that stage of his career is just unbelievable. For a guy his size to do what he did, and for somebody who is such a devout Christian to be able to play a character so dark at times, I mean, professional wrestlers don't get enough credit for the acting and for the commitment they have to certain roles. And I know it's jarring to see like Snoop Dogg and a bunch of the other stuff Taker has done lately, but the man's retired. It's going to be interesting to see what he does from now on. And it'll be interesting to see where we go from here without The Undertaker. For now, I will say thank you so much for watching this video. I am planning a much longer video showcasing the Undertaker figures that I have, and I'm hoping that you guys have as well. So for now, this was Chase for Burnout Inc., that guy with the gloves, saying rest in peace, and I'll see you next time.